So I'm really happy to have you here. So we are focusing on gut health today. So we titled this Trust Your Gut, the gut brain connection, because there is a reason why we want to listen to our gut. It's our intuition usually picking up on something that's going on. The key, though, is actually listening to it and seeing what it's telling us. So I'm glad you're here. So this is about a 30-minute talk or so. And again, we'll have a Q&A at the end. I'm going to go over some key terms that we hear regularly when it comes to gut health and what those mean. I'm going to go over what issues, can result from having a disconnect between the gut and the brain, and then things that we can all implement no matter where we are at in our stage of life and stage of health. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, this is me. Hello, everyone. Because I know I'm still on the newer side. I think this is my second month with PPMA, second Zoom, and I feel very honored and privileged to work with so many wonderful PPMA patients. I really am. And I'm not just saying that because this is being recorded and who knows who's watching it, but I have worked with so many of you and it feels wonderful. I just absolutely look forward to working on my Wednesdays and Thursdays and interacting with you guys and trying to help shed some light on whatever I can do to make your health a little bit better. So happy so Gary, like I'm meeting you now. There's always someone new. I just love it. It's great. So hopefully we'll have a one-on-one soon. Come on in. I'm very nice. I'm not the food police, I promise. You can bring in your supplements. We'll go over them together. We talk about blood sugar or health, anything health related. I am here for you. Physical and mental health, of course. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started with those key terms I want to talk about. So digestive tract. Okay. So the gut refers to the digestive tract. Well, what is that? It's everything from your mouth to where you poop, your anus. So your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. That is what we refer to as your GI tract, your digestive tract. We hear the term microbiome. Actually, I can see some of you. So raise your hand if you've heard the word microbiome before. Okay, great. And if you haven't, that's why you're here. So microbiome refers to the good and the bad bacteria that reside in our bodies. The gut microbiome together refers to our GI tract, all those microbes, the good, the bad, the ugly, that reside within us, as well as your nervous system and your immune system. So you're going to hear me say gut microbiome quite a bit today, and this is what I'm referring to. I will use the term dysbiosis. So dysbiosis happens when we have either an overgrowth of the bad bugs in our system, or we have a lower diverse good bacteria population. So there's not much diversity in our gut. So there might not be an overgrowth of the bad stuff. There's just not enough of the good stuff to give those health benefits. So when we have dysbiosis or a dysbiotic microbiome, these are some of the challenges that we end up dealing with: inflammation, bloating, brain fog, mood changes, and metabolic problems. Something most people actually are dealing with on a regular basis. So the vagus nerve refers to the superhighway between the brain and the gut. Okay. So it's our longest cranial nerve. It runs from our brainstem into our chest, into our digestive organs. It's the main highway between the brain and the parasympathetic system. So parasympathetic refers to your rest and digest. Think of it like like a telephone line. So there's even a theory, there's the polyvagal theory, that tells us there are different vagal pathways that say, hey, we're safe, and this is how our body knows, and this is the threat we're experiencing, And the digestion, actually, the havoc it wreaks on our digestion processes, right? So our body can feel safe and our body can feel a perceived threat. And that absolutely correlates with how our digestion takes place. You'll also hear me say low vagal tone. So that's something we typically want to avoid or improve, rather. So low vagal tone, um, it basically means that the signal between your brain and the rest of your body is underactive. There's a problem. They're not communicating properly. Okay. So when that happens, we see, there's worse stress going on, you have mood dysregulations going on, digestion problems. But the good news is that low vagal tone can be improved with really simple things that I'm going to go over. So that's optimistic. We always look for the silver lining. So the other thing I want to talk about is with serotonin, some of the neurotransmitters that take place in the gut, actually. So 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. That's a pretty big deal. So serotonin is really important because it helps regulate our mood. It helps with going to sleep when we need to go to bed. It helps with our appetite, how we perceive pain, and then motility, gut motility. So digestion, how things are moving through the body. Low or dysregulated serotonin is associated with depressed mood, anxiety, sleep and appetite changes, and altered gut motility, so constipation or diarrhea. So having chronic constipation or chronic diarrhea can be a sign of something's going on in the gut. Now, of course, we know that there's different nutritional factors that can impact that as well. So just because someone has chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation doesn't mean your gut is completely altered, but it is something that signals there's something that is really off. Okay. So this feel-good chemical, serotonin, is made from tryptophan. Tryptophan comes from a lot of protein-rich foods. Now, I wish it was as easy as me saying, now just eat these tryptophan-rich foods and you will have instant serotonin. As we know, the body is a very complex system and different processes require different things to be present, whether that's certain vitamins and minerals or, let me get into that. So when we consume tryptophan-rich foods, so tryptophan-rich foods include like turkey, eggs, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, tofu, edamame. That's right, I did say tofu. Those are a really good place to start, okay? When we are consuming a very nutrient-dense diet, so that means we also are consuming foods or supplements. Some of us need a supplement, which is fine, that are high in B6, iron, folate, zinc, magnesium, and D. That helps convert that tryptophan to serotonin. So again, it's not just I eat tryptophan-rich foods, I get this instant boost. You're going to feel good. You might feel a little relaxed even, but also including nutrient-rich foods and certain supplements to help that process take place is just as important. And then we also need that beneficial bacteria, like those good bugs, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, to help release that serotonin for our body to actually use. So everyone's got a role in this, right? There's not just one main actor. It's all of these guys coming together to help this process happen. And then lastly, some microbes also produce calming compounds like GABA. So some of them help produce serotonin, and then some of them just automatically produce GABA, which is really important for feeling calm, which we like. So now we've got gut, stress, and digestion. So stress, when we're under stress, we experience, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that fight or flight comes into play. that immediately causes slowing or speeding up of digestion. So when you have really slow digestion, how do you normally feel? Probably sluggish, like something's sitting in your body that needs to get out. You don't feel that great, low energy, right? When you have that speedy digestion, what happens? Diarrhea, because our body is experiencing a threat. We got to get out of here. So it immediately wants to get rid of stuff. And so the result is diarrhea. So food is either moving too quickly or too slowly. We have stress that triggers reflux, bloating, and cramps. And when we have that stress, chronic, so over a long period of time, that can start leading to what we call leaky gut. So that gut lining starts to become permeable. Things start to cruise on through that we don't necessarily want. So that tight barrier, right, the tight gut junctions, they start become leaky, whether it's over because of chronic stress, high alcohol intake, high NSAIDs intake, or certain emulsifiers. So your gut lining is only one cell thick. It's like a fine mesh strainer. So picture that strainer in your mind. And when that starts to weaken, what happens to those holes? Things start to leak through, right? So we have bacterial products, endotoxins, that enter the bloodstream that should not be there. So that leads to inflammation. And when we have a higher level of inflammation in the body, all sorts of things are impacted. Brain fog, that's why I wrote clarity is impacted. Brain fog is really fuzzy thinking. Your mood is junky. It's not a good situation. But the good news is that healing is possible. So there's things that I'm going to talk about that we can absolutely implement, even starting when I'm done. So soothing practices. So what do we see on here? We see someone who looks like they're breathing. That's a positive thing. We all can breathe. Someone's out walking, like Karen. Maybe that's you, Karen, walking your dog. And then someone who looks like they are taking a moment to themselves, whether that's yoga or maybe they're just sitting and breathing and having a peaceful, mindful moment. So these are all practices that help soothe the vagal nerve. Notice I said soothing. I'm going to use the word gentle. So they're not super active. They're not, I'm going to go run for 2 miles. These are all very soothing because there's some kind of, discommunication. There's a dysfunction happening. We want to soothe that and make it better. So we've got breath work. So the science is showing that these stressful soothing practices actually help. So slow breathing at about 6 breaths per minute can help improve vagal tone and heart rate variability. So that heart rate variability measures how flexible your nervous system is. Higher the variability, the better. There's more resilience. You will also hear me talk about, I think I say this to almost everybody, go for a walk after meals. It's not just me flapping my gums. It's because this really does help. Not only does it help blood sugar, it helps digestion. It helps make the body go, this feels really good. I'm moving my body. Best thing you can do after a meal, go walk for 10 minutes. Do not go sit down and veg out. Do that later. That can be your reward if you want. But man, if there's anything you do today, start walking after meals. It's one of the best things you can do. And then, of course, mindfulness-based stress reduction. So these are structured practices that focus on present moment awareness and non-judgmental attention. So that involves breathing, body scans, gentle movement. Again, gentle, soothing practices. So mindfulness training has been shown in clinical trials to reduce IBS symptoms and improve quality of life. It reduces the perceived stress, which is what we're going for. Your body is under threat for some reason, and we want to soothe it out of it. Okay. Aha, my favorite part. We get to talk about food. So, one of the strongest predictors of a healthy microbiome is dietary variety. Yes, it's great to eat broccoli. Are you going to eat it every day? No, because we want to eat a variety. We want to incorporate those colors on our plate. One of the, like a gold standard, like if we're going for gold, we are looking at our plate at mealtime, and a really good goal would be 3 colors on your plate for vegetables, right? So maybe you've got some red bell pepper, you've got some those like yellow cherry tomatoes, and maybe you felt like having some roasted carrots. So there was a giant study done called, it was the American Gut Project. And I don't know, thousands of international participants were involved in this. And it basically found that those people who consumed 30 or more different plants in a week had higher microbial diversity than those eating 10 or less. So if you're eating broccoli, great. You're on to a good start. If you can diverse your vegetable or plant intake, great, that's even better. So I'm not saying I want you to go and start eating 30 different plants right now. You're going to pick maybe 1 or 2. Maybe the next time you're in the grocery store, you take a look at the produce, you're in the produce aisle and you're like, oh, look at all these colors. What haven't I had in a long time? What do I want to eat? What can I eat? Okay, I'm going to go try that. And guess what? Herbs and spices count. So if you're cooking at home and you're like, hey, maybe I'll just add parsley once a week. Great. You're doing something healthy for your gut microbiome. Maybe you want to add some oregano. I mean, herbs and spices are like phenomenal. They're so underappreciated with their health benefits. So if you can incorporate herbs and spices, different vegetables, of course, when we have fruit, we always want to go for the colorful berries for more reasons than one. But you want to go for color, and we want to go for diversity, because diversity is what fuels resilience. Let's talk a little bit about fermented and prebiotic foods. So there's fermented and probiotic rich foods, like the ones I have listed here. Not all fermented foods are probiotic foods. I'll say that, because beer is fermented, sourdough bread is fermented. They don't have the live bacteria that we need. So if you enjoy your beer and your sourdough bread, that's fine, but don't eat them because you're thinking, I'm getting fermented food, right? Probiotic foods contain those live beneficial bacteria, and they're in quantities that's actually going to do something for our gut. Then we have prebiotic fibers, so onions, garlic, oats, beans, all of that. That's like the fuel for the good bugs living within us. You got to feed them something. If we're eating a bunch of sugar, guess what you're feeding? The bad bugs. If you keep doing that, you get something called an overgrowth, sometimes like candida or whatnot. So that's not comfortable. So if you can eat prebiotic foods, if you can tolerate them, then please be my guest and add these to your grocery shopping list. They produce short chain fatty acids. One of them is called butyrate. Butyrate is beautiful. I am so happy about butyrate. Not only is it phenomenal for your blood sugar, it's very, very important for brain health, reducing inflammation, and it strengthens those tight junctions of the gut. Polyphenols, omega-3s, and magnesium. Very important to talk about. So polyphenols we see in berries, olive oil, tea, cocoa, even your morning coffee. Yes, coffee has health benefits. They reduce oxidative stress. And, oh, let me admit somebody. Here we go. And they protect neurons. So diets that are higher in polyphenol-rich foods, think like Mediterranean diet, they're associated with better cognitive aging and lower markers of inflammation. Let's see. There we go. Your omega-3s, salmon, walnuts, chia seeds. So these support neuronal membranes. They're precursors to pro-resolving mediators, meaning they turn off inflammation and may improve mood. And lastly, magnesium. So I just listed my favorites. There's a ton of really good magnesium-rich foods. But pumpkin seeds, spinach, and dark chocolate. Pumpkin seeds are so easy to eat. If you want to just add them to a salad or have them by the handful, it's fine. There's such good stuff in pumpkin seeds. But magnesium is what calms our nerves, gets us to fall asleep. Even though its effects on the microbiome are indirect, they still play a role in gut-brain health. So why do these processed foods disrupt? So emulsifiers, like the ones listed here, they thin the mucus layer. Okay, that's the layer that normally protects your gut lining. So that's not a good thing if that's happening. But the good news is when we have fiber, we've got that butyrate being made, there's less irritation, and then the gut can rebuild that mucus and tighten those junctions over time. When we have a high sugar and low fiber diet, that can end up starving the good microbes and fueling the not so good ones. Over time, that can lead to dysbiosis. So remember, dysbiosis is that imbalance between the good and the bad. And low diversity starves those beneficial short chain fatty acid producers. So that means we're not going to be getting that butyrate that we want to have. So that leads to dysbiosis, low-grade inflammation, mood, and energy dips. So lifestyle habits. So sleep and rhythm. So our microbes, our little guys inside our gut, they actually follow the same rhythm that we do. The circadian rhythm, the 24-hour sleep and wake cycle. So poor sleep or social jet lag, where you stay up really late or you sleep in on the weekends, can throw them off. So ideally, we're aiming for a consistent schedule as best we can. And I know work events and life happens, absolutely. And this is why it's just you try your best. This is what we're going for. We just try our best with what we have. Getting morning sunlight in. So wake up, go outside. And if you want to make your coffee, that's fine. Go sit outside and get that sunshine in through your eyeballs, because then it communicates directly to your brain. It says, aha, we're starting the day. Certain hormones rise. Therefore, like your cortisol, which is what we want to have. Cortisol is not bad. And then in the evening, that signals to our brain, melatonin is supposed to start. So that way we can go to sleep and stay asleep. So getting outside is really important. We also want to include gentle movement, again, because that supports motility, moving things along in your intestine. and stress relief. Now, this is a challenge I want to see if you guys are willing to take on. When it comes to eating, I would be curious to see how long or how short of a time it takes for you to eat a meal. Do you inhale your food or do you really take your time with it? See how long you can stretch your meal out to. If you can make it to 20 minutes, my stamp of approval will go to you. But as long as you can. So if you currently eat a meal and it takes you, 5 minutes, that's a pretty short time. That's kind of scary. So I'm going to tell you, add on 5 minutes. See if you can stretch it to 10. Forget my 20. If you're at 5 minutes, make it stretch to even 8 minutes. See what you can do for that. It helps your body shift into the rest and digest mode. That's what we want to aim for. So that's why mindful eating can be so important, because we take a breath before our meal, we sit down, we relax our stomach, we relax how we feel. We observe our food. We enjoy our food. We're not eating in the car or eating over the sink. And you're taking the time your body needs to literally shift into, it's time to digest our food properly and slow down. So parasympathetic activation, it increases stomach acid, which is what we need to digest our food. It stimulates enzymes and bile release, and then it coordinates that motility. That's what we're going for. You end up absorbing nutrients better and hopefully feeling better. So when do we seek help? When there's ongoing bloating, constipation, diarrhea, reflux. That's your body's way of saying something is so wrong. It happens once in a while. When it's a pattern, you talk about it. When you have frequent brain fog, fatigue, anxiety, or you just like low mood, you know what I mean when I say low mood? You are just not a happy camper. There's something going on regularly. Let's talk about it. If symptoms worsen with stress or certain food, pay attention to that. Our body is telling us something, and it can indicate dysbiosis, leaky gut, or some other imbalance going on. So your gut and brain are always in conversation. Supporting them doesn't mean it has to be some extreme diet. It's about small, consistent actions, which is how I like to operate with people. So whether we're working on gut health or blood sugar or cholesterol or blood pressure or what have you, slow and steady is what wins the race. I was talking with someone earlier and she's made tremendous progress. Slow and steady. Food diversity, those fermented and probiotic, prebiotic foods, stress relief, and sleep. They all help. So if there's something in there in that category that you're going, oh, wow, that's a red flag for me. What can I do to start fine tuning that or improving that a bit? And then, of course, starting small. One mindful meal or one breathing break each day. Do not underestimate how breathing can help you. Whether that's a morning meditation type breath work, if you want to establish that, whether it's making sure before you start eating, you take a couple inhales through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and then enjoy your meal. Whatever it is, so you slow down and really pay attention to what state is your body in now. Sometimes we really underestimate that. So I don't have a slide on this. I'm happy to send this to you. I'm going to read this out loud. This is if there is something very serious going on and you want to work on your vagus nerve. So there's certain exercises that you can do at home, and they're online. There's certain exercises you can do on yourself at home that helps soothe that vagus nerve. Then there's certain specialists that do help when you want to go even deeper with this kind of work. So all the things we talked about, like the soothing practices, 100% is, we can all do, right? Pick one and implement it and stick with it. But when there are certain conditions going on that are extremely sensitive to, gut health, vagus nerve, you want to look for either a somatic therapist. It is somebody who is really focusing on the breath and the body and connecting all of that. So it's a type of therapy, and it can be an adjunct to regular therapy, regular visits with your dietitian, regular visits with your health professionals. There's psychophysiologists or health psychologists that can help, and then also physical therapists that have an autonomic rehab focus. So it's a very niche thing. It's not just, call up your local marriage family therapist and say, hey, I got to work on my vagus nerve, right? This is something that's very specific. So if that is of interest to you, I'm happy to talk with you more on a one-on-one basis and help get you situated more with that. I can help you implement the dietary part because I love that part. And of course, learning how to breathe, learning how to mindfully eat, learning how to incorporate these practices that can be really beneficial. So why don't I open the floor up to questions? Does anyone eat 30 plants in a week?
No.
Is that something you want to work on? You know what I was thinking? It might be kind of fun. Now, this is my interpretation of fun. It might be kind of fun to create like a checklist. And every time you eat, like at the end of the day, or even at the end of every meal, you go, oh, how many plants did I just eat? And you tally mark it or you write them out because, maybe if you're like me by Friday, you're like, what plant did I eat on Monday? So maybe you're actually writing out the kinds of plants. So you're like, oh, I had broccoli, bell pepper, and I had some parsley. And then maybe you'll surprise yourself by the end of the week going, oh, I ate like 20 plants this week, 20 different plants. Because Hippocrates is right. Like food is medicine. So the more diverse, the better off we can be. Right. So that might be my kind of fun is to track, how many different plants that we eat. Plus it can absolutely help with, for people who can tolerate fiber. I know not everyone can. People who can tolerate fiber, that helps keep you focused on making sure your fiber intake is up too. And that equates to better blood sugar control. And that equates to better A1C, fasting glucose, fasting insulin. Hey, we like that. So, there's always like different reasons as to why I talk about what I talk about. But trust me, a lot of health benefits in what I talk about, even if it's just as simple as breathing 6 times in a minute.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Um, well, probiotics, for instance, kombucha has probiotics in it. How do you know whether you're getting good probiotics or they just put anything in that drink? I have no idea whether it's great or not great. And you drink a whole bottle or you drink 3 bottles, the quantity, how does that really work?
I love that question, Gary. Thank you. Yes. So kombucha is one of those options for probiotic foods. Um, it is not something I immediately suggest to people, primarily because of the added sugar content, right? And it's wild how much sugar they will actually add to a kombucha drink to where I question why are people even drinking this? You may as well go have a soda. So if you want to look for a kombucha, there is one. I wish I had it in my fridge. I would come show you what the label is. I order it through my farm box. and the name is escaping me. It has a very low amount of added sugar, and I drink about half of it when I feel like having a little bit of something with lunch. I don't have it be my main source of probiotics. My main ones are a serving of sauerkraut, Greek yogurt. I will sometimes do kefir. If you do kefir or yogurt, make sure it's plain, no sugar added. Uh,
Mm.
yeah.
That's a regulated source of probiotics. It'll be most efficient.
Yeah, I mean, Greek yogurt is phenomenal. If are you okay with like lactose?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to do a serving of Greek yogurt, throw some berries, some pumpkin seeds that I mentioned earlier, or sunflower seeds. Man, you're gonna be set. That would be a great place to start.
So that would meet your kind of keeps your gut health in line, so to speak.
No, I'm going to say no because I'm conservative. And I say no because it's not just have one serving and that equates to good gut health. It's a good way to make sure we're getting certain types of probiotics. So, again, probiotics, the other word is the good bacteria. There's a variety of strains of good bacteria. So, like bifidobacterium and lactobacillus are like main bacteria. They're good. And then there's all these different subtypes, all these different strains that go underneath. And we find them in different foods. So it would be kind of like, have you heard of the term like phytonutrients? Phytonutrients are these health benefit compounds that you find in colorful skins of fruits and vegetables. And so we can say, well, I want to eat tomatoes because that has a compound lycopene that helps fight off prostate cancer. But just because I eat that doesn't mean I'm not going to get prostate cancer, right? We want to incorporate that because that's an extremely helpful compound that science says, hey, this is what it's been proven to help fight. So, same thing with incorporating probiotic rich foods that helps with the repopulation or population of the good bacteria. So you start with a serving of Greek yogurt and you put your yummy berries and toppings on top.
Mm.
And then maybe after, a week or so, you're like, hey, I'm ready to try this sauerkraut business. Maybe you just have a tablespoon once a day.
When you gave the example of onions, chia, oats, flax, are those just some, or are those the best, or not the best, but are
So
those?
so those guys are great because they're the fuel. They contain prebiotic fiber. It's the fuel to help those probiotics, the good guys, proliferate.
Mm.
So we take in probiotic foods, so we have good bacteria. Think of it like a rainforest. So you've got good trees in there. Well, how do we make the good trees stay abundant and lush? Well, we give them soil and sunlight, all that. But in our case, we're going to give them prebiotic fibers in the form of chia and onion and garlic and all of that.
And then antibiotics kill the trees, or what are we? So we take
Yes.
antibiotics. You want to take maybe some kombucha after you're done or something?
I would. So if you take a round of antibiotics, it wipes out everything, not just the bad guys, which is awful, right? So all the good stuff went bye bye. So that means that they actually do make probiotic capsules, right? That can be taken while on a course of antibiotics. It depends on the probiotic, and you take it, away from a certain amount of time from the antibiotic. After you're done with the course of antibiotics, yes, absolutely. You have probiotic rich foods and you have the prebiotic rich foods. You repopulate the forest and you make them grow.
Now, one tie into that is I drink a lot of green tea.
Oh, yeah, green tea.
So you flush green tea through your system kind of excessively, let's say, have 4 or 5 green teas or more. Does that wash? How does it go through your system? Does it wash through right into your kidneys, or does it wash nutrients out of your system? I'm
So,
confused by that.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's your body pulls what it needs, right? The good news about green tea, I love green tea as long as it's not impacting sleep, right? But making sure, also making sure your water is number one. Water is number one. But your green tea is great. It's got a cancer fighting compound in there that helps prevent cancerous tumors from becoming cancer. So, hey, if we want to incorporate green tea on a regular basis, that's great. But no, it's not going to wash anything away. Um, if you consume, like, yeah, if you over consume water, yes, any kind of liquid, and when I say overconsume, I mean it's pretty difficult to do. It can happen. Like we lose electrolytes, and so that's why you have to replenish, right? So if you're peeing a lot or sweating a lot, you're at risk of low electrolytes, so you want to replenish. But no, I mean, how much green tea are you taking in? Are you
Might have is 5 or 6 glasses of green tea at lunch, which is, a decent amount, but it
is
has
there
water in it. So the water's in the tea. You're getting,
yes. No, you're right. And that does count towards your oral hydration needs. However, may I ask why you're drinking so much green tea?
I just like it.
Like can you
At
just
lunch, and
sure?
I sit down at lunch and I'll have 5 or 6 glasses,
Okay.
and I
Just
enjoy it.
just make sure there's no added sugar.
I use stevia. What do you think of stevia?
I think it's fine. I'm not going to say it's going to be helpful.
They have some mixed reviews on it that they were saying that they're not sure it's as good as you think it's good.
Right. So, I would not include that in my diet. I would include other things that are much more beneficial. Try this. Do you drink your green tea iced or hot?
Ice,
Okay.
iced tea.
You could make your own green tea, refrigerate it, put ice in it, and just drink it that way and see how you do. Maybe you only need to have one glass.
Oh well, I guess you know it does. It does have a little caffeine in it, which is nice.
True. Yeah. So I understand that. Do you typically avoid coffee?
I don't drink coffee, so at lunchtime it perks you up for the rest of the afternoon.
One
Almost.
thing I will say, and this goes to everybody, is making sure you're drinking water throughout the whole day because that can actually help energy even though it doesn't sound logical. When we do not consume sufficient water, we can notice like mid-afternoon getting really tired. There's actually brain shrinkage that happens very slight when you are dehydrated, which is why you get tired and your memory isn't good. So making sure we're drinking water throughout the day. Also, now I want to meet with you, Gary, and talk to you about your diets. Make sure you've got enough energy.
Well, the other thing that's connected to it is liver.
Mhm.
So if you're doing things, drinking iced tea and stuff like that, your liver, they talk about liver health now. Do you
Mhm.
do something else for liver health, or you just a normal diet is fine?
Well, so that, and I know we're getting a little off topic. Liver health is a very important topic. And I mean, if you want to talk more about that, I'd be happy to. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, if you're going to pick a type of diet out there, I mean, Mediterranean has always been gold standard. You hear about carnivore and keto and caveman and all the things. But
Mm.
Mediterranean diet stands the test of time, right? So
Yeah,
because it's polyphenols, we've got the colorful fruits and vegetables. You've got fish, which is a source of healthy fat. You've got nuts and seeds. You've got all these really beautiful foods. So all of that can translate into, I mean, thriving organs.
okay. I didn't know. If I call you direct or something, I can talk to you. I don't mean to interrupt the whole class if
Oh
they.
no, no, you're good. You're asking amazing questions. I love them.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure everybody else had a chance to talk, so to speak. But I was curious about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, Gary, you can email me at nutrition at privatemds.com, and I can set an appointment for you if you want, or you can call, call the normal office.
Those were questions that were immediately on my mind.
Yeah, no,
When
that's a
you go
great.
to, I go to altitude a lot, and I have problems when I go up to altitude with not enough water, or sometimes your system doesn't do as well.
Mhm.
Every year I go skiing a lot, so when I get to altitude, I don't adjust well now. It's a day or two, my digestive system doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't like the high altitude.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Is that normal to experience that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can absolutely, especially as we get older too, like acclimating can take a lot longer. Same thing with like when you travel to different time zones.
Yeah, trouble with that too. I mean, your body doesn't like to adjust to it very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Um,
it
Karen,
has something to do with the age.
this is the thing. As we get older, everything starts to go a little wonky, and it's like, oh, okay, this is happening now. Mental health and your outlook and your perspective on aging is so important. It's we gotta embrace, like, as much as we might want to like complain. I mean, I'll complain about my own stuff, oh, blah 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 is happening now, and it happens. But we're alive and we're mobile and we can get outside and enjoy sun. Like, I mean, we're very like fortunate people. So keeping that, outlook is important. So, it's like, oh God, I got altitude sickness coming on. Great, you know,
I
but
have had altitude sickness, but that's another problem I don't want to get. And that's just, you can't control that. I mean, diet wise, is there things you should do with your diet so that you don't have problems?
so diet wise, I mean, I don't know about altitude sickness and diet. I think it's just more of like acclimating. Get that like when people go on those climbs, they go climb, Mount Kilimanjaro. There's a reason why they stop every, day or every half a
Yeah,
day, right? Because they have to stop and wait for the
yeah,
body
your
to.
body, you get
Yeah.
it.
I wish it was like, yeah, just eat more celery and you'll be okay. But it's not ever that simple. But
Okay.
let me check in with Dana and Karen and see if you guys have any questions or anything. I so appreciate all of you guys being here today.
Thank you so much for all the information. It'll take a while to digest it.
I know. It's a lot of info and then, just a little bit at a time. But yeah, thanks for being here, Karen. I appreciate it. Dana, are you good? How are you? Good? Okay.
All good.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, it's 4:24, so I am going to let you all go enjoy the rest of your afternoons. Thank you so much for being here. Um, yeah, if I haven't met with you, I would love to meet with you. And otherwise, I think everyone else is on my books, so I'm excited about that. It makes me happy. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you for your help.
you bet. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.